All right, says we are live. Hello, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today is Thursday, February the 11th. And this is actually episode 4 of the podcast for the year. In the whole first 4 episodes, I have been focusing on Hawaii. So I've talked to somebody in Kauai, somebody on the Big Island, somebody in Maui, and perhaps I saved the best for last because today we have Kinga Mills. She is with Hawaii Life Real Estate, and she is joining us from Oahu. So the Hawaiian Islands have a special place in my heart. But right there on Oahu, my cousin Jade lives there. So shout out to Jade if you're listening. And in the real estate space, one of my business partners, Kelsey, she just flew there and landed today. So 2 people there that I like very much, and happy to have you on the show. So let's just kick it off. Tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been selling real estate? How long have you been in Hawaii?
So thank you for having me on the show. First of all, it's great to be here. I have been in real estate now for about 15 years, in Hawaii for 6, and this is my second time around in Hawaii. I was here for probably going to be dating myself, but for high school in 1990-91.
Okay.
And so I fell in love in Hawaii back in the 90s, I would say, or even before that, because I've visited. And I've lived between the US, Canada. I'm actually Polish, and I've always wanted to come back. So 6 years ago, made that decision, and knowing that I knew real estate and I could just switch over, here I am.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's an awesome journey. Well, I will also let you guys know, listening to the show, or maybe you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, but the way I was introduced to Kinga is I actually found her on Instagram. So you'll have to share your handle. But the reason I reached out to her is, one, I could tell she knew what she was doing, but also I could tell that she loves Oahu. I mean, all her photos are just local. So she's got a great feed, and I could tell you've got the aloha spirit. That's one of the best things about the island, is it really does have a magical feel. And if you're listening or watching and you've been there, you know what we're talking about. But such an awesome place to be. So I'm curious to dive in with you on the market. I did, like I said, talk to the other islands, and it seems to me that Oahu is known to be the most expensive of all the islands, which is kind of cool, because if you're the most expensive, there's got to be a reason for it. So I'd love to learn more about your island, but let's dive into the numbers. What are you seeing in terms of pricing for your real estate?
So the median is $833 right now, which is the highest, and that's for single family homes, and our condos in the mid 400 range, like 452. Now that doesn't mean that it's every home is like that in Honolulu. It's very specific to certain areas, and Honolulu would definitely be much higher than that if anybody wanted to be right in town. I would say over $1 million. You got a starting prices 1.3 for a home. The west side of Oahu is where it's closer to the median price point, and that's about 35 minutes out of Honolulu. That's where the median price point would be. And you're looking at about 1,600 square feet, 1,600 square feet for that.
Okay, awesome. So just for comparison, so I live in Orange County. I'm in Southern California, and our latest statistics for entire Southern California, which covers LA, San Diego, Orange County, the whole thing, our median sales price, just for comparison, was $650 in December. The January numbers haven't been released through California.
You're not far behind. You're not far behind at all.
We're right up there. And then here in Orange County, median is much higher. It's 915, but overall 50. But Oahu, it's compared to the nation, it's an expensive place to live.
It is. And I'm not sure if Oahu is the most expensive. I mean, it really, all the islands are completely different.
Yeah.
And we have, so there's a lot of really expensive real estate on Maui and Kauai, Big Island. We have a good mix of everything. So we have from the lower price points to the ultra luxury properties as well. And there's something for everyone, but I mean, it's not your least expensive place in the US for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about the island overall, because you did mention each of the islands are different. But when I've been to Honolulu, you notice the high rises and just sort of more city life. So, do you know, like maybe how many people are there, or kind of in comparison to the other islands, feel a little more spread out? Or
Yeah, we have just under 1 million people. Population is just under 1 million.
okay,
The one thing about Oahu too is it's more residential instead of second home market. So I know some of the other islands, and I'm not. I know Oahu well. I'm not speaking for the other islands. I just know that we have a lot more people just living here full time. Right. This is their home, and it's not necessarily as much of a second home market. So it's a very stable market. It is. Yeah, we have the towers. We have a lot of new condos coming in, a lot, and they're beautiful. And so the prices, same thing. It just ranges, but I would say the starting price is in the 600s for smaller condo, and then it goes up from there. Yeah.
So basically, it seems like in the other islands, because you're literally in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, COVID has certainly opened up the reality of us being able to work from home and bring our laptops. So my sister and her husband and her 2 kids, they just moved to the Big Island, Hawaii, 6 months ago. And that was because if they're going to work from home, they might as well work from paradise. So they're there.
Right.
Are you seeing on your island more, I guess, more people moving to the island, or is there like people retiring there, or who's kind of coming there?
I am personally, and then this is just not me, but I'm seeing more remote workers. Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, why, if people don't have to be at their jobs at whatever place, they're coming here. So I have definitely seen a shift in who's coming and why. And also, I'm seeing more of the East Coast people as well. I mean, our heaviest definitely market is like California, Washington State, Oregon. That's our primary market that is moving here. But I'm seeing more like New York and East Coast, actually. Yeah, it's nice to see.
It's a big time difference, so I feel like the East Coast doesn't make the journey that often. But I also think maybe that was restrictive based on, you had to get right back to the office. So now if you can go for some time, maybe that's
right. Yeah, well, they have direct flights now as well. So they have the Boston to Honolulu. And
oh, really?
Orlando just opened up to Honolulu, or will be in March or something like that. So there's 2 direct flights going directly to the East Coast. And that makes the whole, I don't even know how long the flight would be. 8, 9 hours, I'm guessing, but it's not. it's going to take some time. Well, it's 6 hours, 5.5 or 6 hours from California.
Yeah.
Well, it would be 11 hours, right? I would think. Yeah.
So
but it's
transportation and getting there. I know there's direct flights from LAX. You mentioned the other places as well. You guys have a pretty robust travel. I mean, you can, living there, if you want to go to Vegas for the weekend, or you want to go, I know my sister's looking at going to Japan coming, when COVID lightens up a bit. But anything about your airport that you want to mention? Is it just one there on the island?
So we have the Honolulu airport here in Honolulu. And I mean, it's a busy airport. Pre-COVID, it was like we had 30,000 people flying in daily.
Really? Wow.
So 30,000. I think March, or right when we had all the restrictions, it literally went down to like 200 or just, I mean, it was just a handful of people that were flying in. We're back up, but we're definitely not back up to the capacity. But we had tons of flights coming in. And Vegas, actually, they're calling that the 9th island because people love moving to Vegas and just gambling. And so Vegas it's one of the most popular routes for people in Hawaii. But we have flights coming in from all over the place. I mean, we're a destination market for vacation market, right? Yeah. So we have those connections wherever. And I'm not in the travel industry, but they make sure that anybody that's coming from the areas definitely has easy access to Hawaii, Canada included.
So let's talk about when you get there. What kind of things can we expect to do recreationally? What are you guys kind of known for? for example, Kelsey, my business partner, she just landed there today. What is she going to be doing for the week?
Probably just sitting on the beach. So we have Oahu has some really, really beautiful beaches. So we have a lot of people are familiar with Waikiki because that's kind of that's been around for so long. Most of the buildings in Waikiki are actually from the 70s. But we have so many new places coming up, just like a short walk away even. And the outside of that Waikiki, a core. And so Waikiki's the main place where people stay. And half of it is hotels and half of it is residential towers. Okay. It's all condos. There's like literally just maybe a handful of homes there, but it's kind of split up half and half. So the Waikiki Beach, that's something that everybody loves. The water is beautiful, turquoise. There are restaurants, shopping. So we have pretty nice shopping. And anything from your regular stores at the mall to a lot of luxury actually. And kind of looking back when I was here first time around back in the 90s, and we had a lot of mopeds and t-shirt shops. It definitely has over the years evolved into, we still have that, but a lot of people sometimes are surprised at how much luxury we actually have here. And one of the biggest malls, if not the biggest mall in the US, open air mall, is actually in Honolulu.
Oh, really?
Right in Waikiki. And that has everything from your regular stores to if you want to go and buy a $30,000 purse, it's here. Or even a Tesla, you can drive out. So anything from fun stuff and trinkets to the ultra luxury, we really have it on Oahu, and that's kind of the nice thing. Why I like the island is because I have options. If I want to go to the beach and just relax and feel that island life, I can. It's either outside, just a short walk away, or I drive to the North Shore and feel a little bit, or Kailua, feel that beach town feel. Yeah. And then if I want to come back to town and to get into more of the city life, I have that as well. So that's my personal choice, and why I like Oahu is because it does have literally everything here, from the beach towns to the really laid back lifestyle to all the high end stuff. If anybody wants that. It's definitely a lot of variety.
Any market that has variety is very appealing to me. It's always dull when there's all one shape and size of product, homes and all of that. So it's really great to hear that. Yeah. In the North Shore, so talk a little bit about that. I've actually only been to Oahu, I think once, maybe it was twice, but both times I was 18 or younger. But I do remember going to see the big wave surfers, and I know you guys have some pretty incredible competitions and things. So tell us a little bit about that.
So that is actually in the winter time. So it's happening now. The big swell is up. So we do have weather patterns on the islands, which it is still warm, but the ocean actually swell changes. So the North Shore actually gets the big waves in the winter. And then it does switch over to the south side, which is Waikiki, in the summer. I mean, the waves are nowhere near as big, but there is a little bit more of a swell on the south side. But the North Shore, it is still very laid back. You've got shrimp farms and shrimp trucks and some beautiful homes. I mean, there's a nice collection of smaller homes, and then there's actually a really nice collection of oceanfront or beautiful ocean view homes. So anything and smaller, very few, but smaller condos. So if anybody wants that, then definitely is an option on the North Shore as well. Yeah, it's but I like going there just to relax, just to kind of, because it's not that far from Honolulu. It's about 40-minute drive really. So and just feels like a different world. That's why I said Oahu is just kind of a cool island, because it has so much variety that I can like literally go from Louis Vuitton if I want to, and I mean walk by Louis Vuitton, right? Walk by with Louis Vuitton, and then I can be on the North Shore in about 40 minutes and just sitting in the sand. So yeah, eating on shrimp if I want to.
Yeah, that's honestly, it's the best experience, especially a 40-minute drive. You can be in two totally different worlds. That's one of the things I love about Southern California is we can be in the mountains, snowboarding, then an hour later be, surfing at the beach. So a lot of places around the US, you kind of have one climate and temperature, and it seems like the islands have all these microclimates. You go 10 one way and the things change. So tell us a little bit about,
and each island is completely different for people that don't know. Each island is like completely different. It's like its own microclimate. We're talking real estate, but real estate is different. The vibe is different. The scenery is different. It's actually quite interesting. And I've been to California actually numerous times, and I like it because it does have that variety.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the weather. I'm pretty sure it's 85 or 86 degrees all day, every day, winter, summer, the whole 9 yards. So what can you tell us about the weather?
Well, you're right there. It is a little bit warmer in the summer, but it doesn't cool down that much I wear short sleeve shirts pretty much all the time, unless I feel like putting something longer on. Maybe in the winter. Like right now, we're dipping into the mid 60s in Honolulu. If you're more inland, then it would be maybe high 50s for a few days, but low 60s. But that's the extreme.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then it doesn't go up very high. Like in the summertime, you're the highest maybe 91, but that's like really high. So it just stays in those high 80s, mid 80s. Very just a very mild, and I think the climate is what really draws people in. It's the views, the climate, the weather. I'm sitting here and it's nice outside, and I know there's like still there are snowstorms in other parts of the U.S. And Canada included, and it's almost unreal, right? Like you're in California, so you kind of you understand that we're watching this on the news and going, wow.
I can handle a
I've lived in that climate, so I understand that it's cold and how it can be. So I'm not completely clueless because I've lived in different areas. So I definitely appreciate this weather here a lot.
Well, let's jump back to real estate. So I know you mentioned you have condos, you have the high rises, you have single family homes. Is there anything else we should know about the real estate? One reason I'm asking is I believe much of your land is on leased land, or anything you want to share about the ownership there?
So actually, most properties are fee simple. So so it is fee simple. Leasehold, there are still a number of leasehold condos in Waikiki specifically. There's a few here and there, but for the majority of real estate is fee simple, just like anywhere in the U.S. So that's not So the only thing about the leasehold condos, which people don't understand, and I get a lot of those calls, I saw a condo for $200,000 or $70,000. What a great deal, right? Until I tell them that the monthly is about $4,000.
Yeah.
Because you're paying not only the maintenance, but you're paying the lease of the land. So you don't own the land that's underneath the building. And I think because it's such an unknown thing for most people on the mainland. What do you mean you don't own it? That people are surprised. And the leases have different. So every lease is different. So it's not like they're long-term leases, but let's say they're coming up for expiration. So every lease is completely different. It will have renegotiation dates throughout the lease, usually. And then there will be a renegotiation at the end of the lease. The worst thing that can happen, however, if the lease completely expires and the landowner doesn't renegotiate or just wants the land back, which doesn't happen very often, but let's say, they would have to demolish the building, right? But the worst thing that can happen is you have to move out at the end. And again, it's not like they're demolishing buildings all the time, and so there's definitely a little bit of security there. But what people are surprised with when they're looking at the price point, comparing it to a let's say a different condo, is like, why is this one this much and one is this one that much? And naturally we gravitate to a deal, right? This is so great. But they're very, very surprised when they hear about the maintenance fees, which on average in Honolulu, I would say, and this is kind of in broad terms, but on average about $1 a square foot. So kind of give you, so they're not they're $7. So for instance, like a $600,000 condo, the maintenance fees might still be $600, $700, $800, $900 a month.
Wow.
Well, everything has to be shipped in. Everything has to be right. So there's the added cost of it, and then with the wind and the sun, there's definitely maintenance. But I think it's just the shipping cost and just maintaining a lot of the stuff. So I would say that sometimes it's the biggest surprise of that the maintenance fees are higher. And if anybody's looking at the lease, then if they don't understand how it works, then they're surprised about the lease. But the leases are just a very small fraction of the market, actually. So the majority is fee simple.
So with those higher maintenance fees, is it because the buildings have so many amenities, or it's more just the maintenance of it?
So for the ones that are older, I would say the ones that are, let's say most of Waikiki, for instance, right, which people kind of know because it's been around for so long. That would be the majority of the buildings in Waikiki are were built in the 70s. So at this point, they do have a pool. I mean, not all of them, but they have a smaller pool. They may have a tiny little gym, but nothing what we're imagining in today's standards.
Like New York style.
Most of those fees are definitely just for maintenance. Mm-hmm. Will be for maintenance, will be for just future replacement value of items in the buildings. Plumbing, elevators, those have to be replaced. And we're coming up for 40, 50 years, so that has to be replaced. So they have to budget for any replacement costs. Now, when it comes to new condos, it's the amenities. So you have the staff there, you have concierge, you have golf simulators, we have pools. I mean, that's a given. Beautiful gyms. They have sand volleyball courts. And as a visitor, most people don't see that because everybody's walking on the sidewalk, right? And all the amenities are high above, usually around the 6th floor. So when I go, and so when you see my Instagram, and I see a lot of that stuff from up top. And that's where a lot of my pictures come in. It's like, whoa, I love the view. So that's so it's Kinga Mills, Hawaii, for anybody that wants to check it out. But that's where the views come from, is from above. I love ocean views. I love water and just showing what's out here from a different perspective.
So tell us about that, because you are talking about new construction, and it seems like one of the things with the island is there's like, where are they going to put new construction? So you guys are seeing new construction projects happening.
Mm-hmm. So in town, so in Honolulu, we're seeing a lot of, there's condo towers. There's specifically one master planned community that not a lot of people know yet, but it's going to be it's 160 acres. It's a 16 tower master planned community in the heart of Honolulu. I mean, we're talking half an hour walk, let's say, to Waikiki. So that's just in terms of perspective, how far it is. Where there's Whole Foods, there's shopping, there's close to the Ala Center, and it's called the Ward Village. And because a lot of the sales are pre-sales, a lot of people are just not aware of it. But we have new on the island, and it's actually fairly new because this only started a few years ago. Wow. And then there are also a few more towers coming in, either in the middle of construction or actually just got approved, kind of in the same area, not necessarily as part of the master plan, but closer to the core of where Ala Center is, which is like literally the heart of Honolulu and right by the beach and the ocean. And that is to bring people into the city. If anybody has, just depends on what job they do. So there's less commuting done, because even though we are on an island and everybody thinks, they're seeing pictures of people sitting on the beach, we do have traffic here. So when I say it takes me 40 minutes or 35 minutes to get someplace, I plan that around rush hour. So it's no different than when you're in California during rush hour, that we definitely have that too. There's part of the highway that we literally have 6 lanes. Wow. And so people are coming in from the city, going out to the western communities, where the prices are a little bit lower. The homes may sometimes be actually newer, out on the outside, and people are commuting and then coming in the morning. So I just plan around that. I mean, so once in a while I have to be in traffic and I'm like, do. Yeah, so I make it work. But if I plan my day right, it's outside of those hours, and then you're totally fine.
Yeah, 1 million people is 1 million people. There's bound to be traffic at some point.
Yeah,
it
they're
does.
building out one thing. They're building a SkyTrain, so they're building that. So it has.
Amazing.
Yeah, it should have been completed 2019. There's been a few little delays, so that's still in the works.
Like,
but
connecting what? Is it going to
connect the west side?
Okay.
The western community, so about 40 minutes out to the airport, and then the plan is to actually, they're on the last 4 miles, which are the hardest miles. I think it's 4 miles, which are the hardest miles to actually link it into Ala Moana Center, which is like literally the middle core of Honolulu.
Okay. So that would be like a tourist attraction, or that's just more like for actual transportation for local?
Actual transportation. I mean, tourists, when they're here, they will be able to take it and just kind of look at different areas, but it's really for just to relieve some of the traffic because the island is growing. We have shortage of inventory. There's always a shortage. And like now with COVID and this market, it's insane. But the reality is they're just trying to take cars off the road, and with people coming in, just to be able to have people come into town without having to drive.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's very forward thinking of them. And in the US, I would say in general, we don't have a lot of well thought out transportations besides like subway systems that are really old. So a new SkyTrain, that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's when it's completed, it's going to be great. It's over budget.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over budget. So they're working on it. But once it's completed, I think it will be a great addition. It's however long it takes for them to finally finish it, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it seems like your island has a really good mix of like people who actually move there and live there. But I do know there's people that may be considering your market for a vacation home. So if we have somebody looking in that scenario, is it popular to put your home on Airbnb, or are these people just kind of locking it up when they're not there? Or tell us a little bit about the second homeowners.
So a lot of our second homeowners, now depends on who it is. So they will have a second home. If it's in a condo, they'll just lock it up. Okay. If it's a house, same thing, lock it up. But a lot of our international buyers as well, or buyers from the mainland, will choose sometimes to just have a second place and keep it vacant.
Okay.
Airbnbs or daily rentals were, we had about 10,000 estimated 10,000 illegal vacation rentals on Oahu. And in August of 2019, they really put a stop to it. So bigger fines, really with definitely major rule changes where the fines just really got bad. So that's coming to almost a complete stop. And so now owners will be able to, they're releasing an X number of these application or certificates where somebody can actually have like more of a bed and breakfast, but the owner has to be present. So you can't, you have to be at the house and you have to be licensed for it. The other option is to have a condo that is what's called a condotel. So a condo with a hotel operation inside, and those allow daily rentals. So if somebody, and I get a lot of these questions because Airbnb is so popular right now that, I'm just going to buy a condo and rent it out. And it's fine for the most part if you rent it out for 30 days. A lot of the buildings allow 30-day rentals, and some are 90 days, some are 6 months. So it just depends on the area. But if anybody wants to do the daily, they have to be in a specific building. Okay. And that allows that daily rental. Otherwise, it's going to be at a minimum of 30.
Okay.
So it's not as easy as just purchasing a house and then just putting it up at your Airbnb because, it's just asking for a pretty hefty fine.
Yeah, we're pretty similar here. I would say that most cities, the entire policy is 30 days or more. There's a handful of pockets that you can do Airbnb with a permit, but it's just interesting to see how the Airbnb thing is shaping up. And I think when I'm working with clients in general, if you think you're going to buy something and just triple your payment, just fling it on Airbnb, sometimes it sounds better than it actually pencils out to be. So make sure you check with Kinga before you buy something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've had a ton of fun interviewing you, and I just want to remind everybody that both of us are real estate agents. We're here to earn your business. So if you like talking with either of us, you're welcome to call us. We welcome your phone calls, your emails, your texts. We'd love to be of service to you. But one thing you did say is that new construction project. And I think that whenever there's new construction project that's kind of under the radar, it's such a good opportunity. So I know in my market, I do work with home buyers that are looking to buy brand new construction. I assume that your builders are the same. Is a buyer able to call you and then you show them the new construction, or do they have to go direct to the new construction? How does that work?
So no, I would actually work with the buyers and explain, provide the different information, because our price points are so all over the map. There's so many different options for it can go from a condo to a house. And every building is different. If somebody's looking for a condo, and every house or every community will be different. We don't, in general, have a lot of new home builders. And the way the process works is, especially now, a lot of it is virtual. So everything is done very, computerized, and you can really see what you're where you're buying, even if the building isn't built. When it comes to a home, the houses here are sold by lottery. So if someone's not familiar with the process, they're like, "What do you mean a lottery? Do I win a home?" No, you have to actually just submit a lottery application. And for 6 to 20 available properties, the builders just draw names out of a bag or a hat or whatever they're doing. And the first person gets the pick of whatever's available, and then the second person goes in and picks that available home. So even before COVID, before this crazy market, before they still did lotteries. Prior to the lotteries, it was actually people were camping out, because there's always a need for homes here.
Yeah.
So when it comes to whether it's homes, definitely competitive. Condos, we have some beautiful, beautiful real estate with ocean views and just prime location. So depending on the need or the want or the price point, we really kind of have a great variety for anybody here on Oahu. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Real estate agents have always been valuable when trying to find your home search, but honestly, now more than ever, we're working our faces off. And if you guys are thinking of buying or selling, you need somebody really experienced to help you navigate, because the market is challenging. In our Southern California market, the average days on market was 11. Okay. The average, that means that most are selling in 2 to 3 days. And there's a few people that, really stretched on the price and sat for a couple days, but market's moving ultra fast. And
so is it first come, first serve in your market, or is it the seller just collects offers and reviews them on Wednesday?
Yeah, they'll collect all the offers. They'll typically get 15, 20 offers, and they'll pick one. It's just
so same here. Yeah.
It's pretty fast moving. And for new construction, I have heard of builders doing that in the Phoenix market, where they're doing the lottery system. Here, we don't have a ton of new construction, but the ones we do have, you can just, buy. So it's too challenging, but we're just really low on inventory. And that's a national problem right now. And COVID has put rocket fuel on that. And then interest rates put more rocket fuel on that. So
and just really knowing how to structure the offer and what's happening in our markets. I think I actually put 2 condos in escrow. Both were multiple offers and it was a combination of the right price and a very clean offer, where the sellers essentially just signed without doing a huge counter offer. So I think it really just helps to know our markets and what's happening. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, I know if you're listening out there, you can certainly call her direct. I know when I'm working with clients and they tell me they want to move your way, I'll certainly send them over to you. So it's been awesome chatting with you. If you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, I am displaying kingamills.com is her website, and I'll read out her phone number. It'll be in the show notes as well, but 808-722-3985. And you guys know where to find me. Actually, I put my Instagram handle. I'm at Danae Aballi. So check us both out, and thank you guys for watching the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. I like kind of learning what's happening in other markets and chatting, because we get so wrapped up, especially now how busy things are, right? We're kind of in our own element, but it's nice to kind of connect and find out what's happening in other markets.
Yeah, it's always fun to compare, and everyone lives somewhere. Everyone has a roof over their head, so we got to keep up with what's happening in real estate. And now more than ever, it's more confusing than ever because of all the different market dynamics. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But, all right, guys, have a great one. Bye.
Thank you.